The Dravidian Connections, the extra-Indian linguistic connections of the Dravidian languages, is the first book to explore the linguistic relation of the Tamil people in Africa and Eurasia. The Tamil speakers originated in Africa. Today, there are still Tamil speakers in Cameroon, a country in Central Africa. Dravidian Connections, the extra-Indian linguistic connections of the Dravidian languages, tells the story of how the Tamil people originated in Africa and migrated into Eurasia at the 3500 BC. Many Dravidian scholars, including U.P. Upadhyaya and K.P. Aravanan, have discussed the linguistic unity of Black African and Dravidian languages. These affinities are found not only in the modern African languages, but also that of ancient Egypt. These scholars have made it clear that lexical, morphological, and phonetic unity exists between African languages. Abalakrishnan, in African Roots of the Dravidian-speaking tribes, a case study in onomastics, has illustrated the African origin of Dravidian place names in many parts of India. As you can see, Dravidian researchers continue to show the African origin of the Dravidians. By 3500 BC, the Tamil began to migrate out of Africa. Dr. Menzies was the first archaeologist to argue that some Dravidians landed in Iran and migrated into India and the Indus Valley. The movement of this group is supported by the spread of black and red ware from Nubia to the Indus Valley and the South Indian megalithic, and the Dravidian substratum in the Prakrit, Puranas, and other languages in Eurasia. According to V. Kanakasabai, other Tamil speakers entered South India via Kumari Kandam. The syllable Padikaram and Kalit Tokai explained that many Dravidians entered India from Kumari Kandam, a landmass that is supposed to have connected South India and East Africa. Kanasabai used the Silapadikaram, Maninikalai, and the Kalit Tokai in conformity with contemporary archaeological and historical material to discuss the three migrations of Tamil into South India from Southeast Asia and East Asia. He identified these Tamil speakers as the Yakshas, Koshan, Kosalas, and Tiriyars, or Sea Kings. In Dravidian Connections, the extra-Indian linguistic connections of the Dravidian languages, we tell the story of how Tamil migrated from Iran into Europe and Asia Minor to influence the development of civilizations in Mesopotamia and Anatolia. Many of the languages and cultures of Europe were influenced by Tamil speakers. Dravidian Connections, the extra-Indian linguistic connections of the Dravidians, provide a detailed discussion of the Proto-Dravido-African culture terms. It illustrates that Mitanni or Hurrian and Lycian languages are in reality a Dravidian or Tamil dialect. Dravidian Connection, the extra-Indian linguistic connections of the Dravidians, shows that as a result of the ancient Tamil living in Anatolia, Tamil is related to Hungarian, Elamite, Caucasian languages, and Sumerian. Dravidian Connections, the extra-Indian linguistic connections of the Dravidians, will also discuss the research of Dr. K. Loganathan that proves that Tamil is related to Sumerian and the Vedic languages. Dr. K. Loganathan Muttarayan indicates that around 2500 BC, Dravidians had been speaking Sumerian. Dr. Loga, as he is affectionately termed, research indicates that Sumero-Tamil is the foundation of Sanskrit. Finally, in the Dravidian connection, the extra-Indian linguistic connections of the Dravidian languages, we tell the story of the Tamil speakers' migrations out of Africa into Eurasia. It explains that many Europeans carry the R haplogroup, and the Tamil substratum in many Eurasian languages is the result of Tamils and their expansive period of discovery of many locations in ancient Eurasia.